there's some frustrations here or there within our, what we might have expected to happen or this or that. I mean, it all ended beautiful, but when it was all done, it's good to look back on it and have the good memories of it. But we were all drained, right? We were drained, and JJ was drained too in a sense. But we had a good break after what was supposed to happen. We come out with a W. Absolutely. And it was great. And the best part about it is it went so well. I talked with the promoter the next morning, and he loves the city. He loved the venue. He loved how everything went, and he wants to bring another event back. And whether we were on the card because it was a homecoming event, but the good thing is for the city, for events, for the commerce of it, we have an opportunity to do that again. Or boxing has an opportunity to showcase itself at the professional level again in Grand Rapids, and that's really what it's all about. It was really good, man. So, Albie sponsored JJ for that as well. Correct. And I think a lot of you guys were there either collecting media or just experiencing the event. But what'd you think of it?
One, it felt good to see GR natives putting it on for the mat. I think that's first and foremost, and then seeing the team behind them. Mm-hmm. I think that was beautiful, and it's rare because you really don't see that publicized. Oh, Lord, I can't speak as much as what it should be.
Right.
But I think the fight, because for me, I had Justin on.
Yep.
Mr. JLP. And although it was a draw, it was still good to see, like, the efforts and people, like, you grew up with succeeding.
I just saw Justin last night, too. We had, like, it's kind of like a family reunion post-holiday, post-birthday for JJ. We were out in Wayland for that, but I just caught up with him last night. I saw him. He looks good. I think he was a little disappointed at a draw, at the time, but I think it's he's, that guy was a tough guy. Okay, that was a very, very tough opponent, and I think it was a fair decision, to be honest. Maybe some don't agree with me, but he did well, and the truth of the matter is, like, that guy was a very, very tough guy, a great boxer, tough chin, and he was able to do that in front of his people, have that, and it's he didn't lose.
And well, technically, yeah,
he didn't lose, and so it's just a learning moment that he can go forward and keep going. But he's in good, he was in good spirits after that too, though. So yeah.
I said, do you only work with boxers, or like, what's your?
Yeah. So what I do is I'm a strength and conditioning coach. Mm-hmm. I do nutrition. I do recovery. Really, what we're also doing is we're trying to instill habits that build into the performance and build into the work that goes into strength and conditioning and development. I work with everybody. So I'll get into a bit of my history, but the only professional boxer that I work with right now currently is JJ. Okay. But it's as far as different sports and athletes, I'll get into that here in a little bit, but I've worked with them all. And I also work with general population as well, regular people, regular folk, either trying to just stay healthy, get out of pain, rehab, fat loss, energy restorement, you name it. And we'll get into that, but that's like I have over a 20-year history of that. And so, yeah, because my first job at a gym, I just got my license, 16 years old. And then I started training people at 18, got certified and started training people at 18. So
that's discipline right there.
But
that is discipline.
Yeah, that's the history of like why I chose it. Like I said, I'll get into that probably once we start recording or whatever. But
we're good.
We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
We're rolling. Excellent. So we're on. Yeah, let me get into that a little bit, because I know that was a question that you were asking me earlier. Mm-hmm. All this kind of started for me when I was like 13 years old, and I just started lifting weights in my basement. We had a little shoddy set. And at first I was like, this is hard. This hurts, and kind of not into it. But then I think I got what's called a pump. Right? And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, you go and look in the mirror and you're like, I'm bigger already. So you're a kid, you're a teenager, and you don't really understand it at first, but you're like, wow, this is working. And it wasn't long after that I saw an A&E documentary on Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I know a lot of people started that way, right? With the GOAT and of bodybuilding. But for me, it wasn't necessarily him. It was the fact that a lot of these films were in black and white. And what it really was for me was the artistry of it. Okay?
Explain a little bit.
So when you look at the classic bodybuilding, a lot of it's in black and white. And when you have black and white photos, video, the contour is way better. The value is way better. So you're seeing the values, the cuts, everything better. I was mesmerized by all these old videos and all these old shots of these guys who look like superheroes. And when you're a young boy or a young teenager, what is the image that you want, or what are you, what is this vision of greatness? And these guys look like superheroes out of Marvel comic books. And then you see you see some good athletes and stuff, and there's this muscular, developed, masculine look to that. And so that was inspiring, but it also was just like, wow. It kind of turned on the artistry side of my brain. And that's kind of how it started. And so, I went to the local racquetball gym and weight room and just started chopping it up with some of the old-timer bodybuilders. And my mom and dad got me like a little cheap membership there. I mean, back in the day, I think that gym membership cost me like $35. And if you think about it now, like, you can't get that, right? Unless you go to Planet Fitness. But so I was hooked. Played sports, but I loved training and training myself. So, that's kind of my high school right there. I played football. I played basketball. I quit a spring sport because I liked the off season, and so I worked co-op at school. That's what we called it, where, I'd go to school for half the day and then I would go to the gym, and that started my junior year, did it my senior year, and I loved it. I got certified at 18, took some clients, but I never thought that I was going to be a professional personal trainer.
No?
I didn't know if there's careers in it or money in it. And so when I graduated high school, I wasn't a great student in high school. I just barely got by. Did just enough so I could be eligible to play. But I didn't try hard in school. I just did what I had to do to do what I have to do. And so, when I graduated high school, I was working a full-time job, working well drilling supply and going to the gym at night. And, I saw all my friends going away to college, and I did that for about a year, and I said, I think I want to go back to school. But at the time, I wanted to help people realize their potential. I always knew that I wanted to do something that developed into something better, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I originally went to school to be a special ed teacher.
You got a heart, man.
So,
You got a heart.
that's kind of where I thought I was going. I always worked out. I always had a passion for it. I always had wanted that to be part of my life, but I was afraid that if I turned it into a career, you lose that passion. Right? That happens a lot. something that's for yourself, something that, I didn't want to lose that. It was so special to me, and it was such a part of my life that that I didn't want that to be diminished. So went to Central Michigan University, and I thought I was going to be in education, thought I was going to be a special ed teacher. And that didn't really work out. I didn't really like how the education system worked. And so, not getting into details of that, some of my general education classes that dealt with health, that dealt with some of the human sciences and biology, were such a breeze. Mm-hmm. And I realized that I had such a talent for it and such a knowledge for it that I changed my majors and said, like, this has to be my purpose. That has to be my purpose. And so, I changed my major, and I went into what's called, basically it's pre-med, but it was health in the preventative and rehabilitative. And a lot of people use that undergrad for, going pre-med or pre-PT. And I also minored in art, and I minored in nutrition as well. And so along those lines, I worked at GNC in college. I took some clients in college. And there are a few different things. I'd have classes with football players and basketball players, and we'd be chopping it up. And they're like, man, how do you know all that stuff? And I was like, I've just been reading encyclopedias about training, human performance since I was a kid. I might have been failing math or whatever, but I just loved everything to do with the human body. I loved everything to do with how it performs and how it works. And so that was just something I like to nerd out about. And there was a time I was hooping at the student activity center during the off season of football, and a lot of football players would go hoop, when they're not in, when they don't have to be in season and watch. And so it's like after a game, and I'm throwing lobs where it bounces, and I go throw it down. And at the time, there was a quarterback there, Dan Lefevre, and he's got a lot of MAC records. He played in the NFL for just a short bit, but he comes up, he's like, dude, you like wrestle or something? And I was like, I don't do anything. And he's like, man, like, you should be playing something. But there are other football players who said, the staff needs you. Like, the strength and conditioning staff needs you. Like, we need help. And so I sent an email to the head strength and conditioning coach. At the time, his name was Dave Lawson. Okay. And, he's done a few things here and there. But he gave me a shot, and I accepted what's called, you can call it a UA or an SA, which means undergrad assistantship or student assistantship, or you have a GA, which is a graduate assistantship. Mm-hmm. So that just meant that I'm actually still an undergrad, but I have a position with the strength and conditioning staff at Central Michigan University. And so even though I had been personal training a little bit, been in the gym scene for a while, that was kind of the start of a higher level position in strength and conditioning. And they don't pay you anything. No. You might get some scholarship money or some free credits and stuff like that. But that's kind of where it started. And that's actually where I met my now business partner as well, because he played football while I was there. And it was a great time to be there because we had, I mentioned Dan Lefevre. There was a lot of, at the time, there was double-digit guys that came from Central Michigan University that played, that went on to play in the NFL. One of them being Antonio Brown, which most people know. And so, it was just a great season to be at CMU, and did that for a while. I also, got to work with some high schools that were in that area that they needed strength and conditioning, and so took a couple of those projects, and then I took my first job out of Central at 2010 at a place in Chicago called Poliquin Performance Center. Okay. And what that type of a model is a private gym, but these guys were so good that a lot of, professional Olympic world athletes, as well as personal training clients, would go and be serviced, and it was just a kind of a higher end personal training human performance center. And that was kind of the start of more of the business career that I was at. And I did that for a few years, and I got to work alongside with tons of NFL guys, handful of NBA guys. We had Olympic development athletes, athletes of all different kinds. And even better, to be honest, were a lot of executives, businessmen and entrepreneurs, businessmen and women, right?
So you learn both sides?
That's right. So, whatever you do, if you get to work with people, it's like a free education course.
Yeah.
If you're willing to serve and you're willing to listen, you basically get free mentorship.
You can't be ignorant about it too.
No.
Especially if they got what you want.
That's
it's
right.
best to listen.
That's right. I mean, some of these people, they seem highly educated. They're very knowledgeable. Obviously, some of the cars you see pulling into the parking lot, some of the material stuff, right? You're like, wow, how do you get that? So anyway, you listen, and you offer yourself freely in exchange for
knowledge.
In exchange for knowledge. And I did that for a while, and I felt the time was coming after a few years that business, that gym, I wanted to move on from, right? And so I removed myself from that, and I was kind of doing some independent personal training, traveling personal training, some consulting. And this is about 2013. And, this being the pop-off section, just kind of doing a quick brief of where we are today. I'm sitting at breakfast in between sessions and in between clients, and my phone rings, and I notice it's a Chicago number, and I pick it up, and this guy, he said, "Hey, Bobby." I said, "Yeah, this is Tim Grover," and I said, "How you doing?" He says, and he starts, giving me his introduction. I said, "I know who you are. I read your books," and for those of you who don't know, Tim Grover was Michael Jordan's trainer for 14 years. And then he went on and he trained a bunch of other NBA athletes, and then famously Kobe Bryant as well, Dwayne Wade. Those are just a couple of his big, right, iconic athletes. But he told me that he had this big international project that was going on, and he heard I was one of the best. And he wanted to talk to me about an opportunity, so he wanted to get together. And so that began a big project that we did in 2014 into the start of 2015, where we were working essentially for the Shanghai Sports Bureau and a couple other campuses in China to develop their professional and world and international and world athletes. So I decided to take that position and got to work with tons of different athletes there, of all different kinds. But main focus over there was basketball and their development. I was very, very blessed to be able to work and train one of the best WNBA players of all time, Sylvia Fowles. She'll be in the Hall of Fame. Multi MVP years. She was Finals MVP. Great person. Also, a guy named Michael Beasley.
Yep.
Right. And he had a little bit in the NBA. He played overseas a bit. Now he's pretty much the best player in the Big Three. If you guys have ever seen the Big Three, that's that 3-on-3 league that they have. That thing's pretty interesting, doing pretty good. Another guy who's famous in the media, maybe not for such great reasons, but a very interesting story, was Delonte West. And if you guys have ever heard of Delonte West famously played in the NBA. He played with LeBron, but he struggled with mental illness for a while. And he's been in the media lately because he's been homeless. He's had some substance abuse issues, and a lot of people know him personally and know that he's a good guy, and have reached out to him. One famously as well as Mark Cuban. Okay, so got to work with a couple of guys like that, where you start to understand the mental side of performance as well, and the highs and the lows of it. But anyway, that's those are some other details for maybe another time. But after that, I moved back home, and I'm from this area. I have family here, and it just kind of struck me that I could probably go anywhere and do anything. I had a couple different international offers on the table that I could pursue. I could have went to bigger market cities, but I wanted to stay in West Michigan because this is where my family is, and you kind of have a window of time that you can spend with them, and that was important to me. So I decided to stay here in 2015, and I actually took a job for 8 months at one of the MVPs, and just, I remember it, during my interview, there are two guys, it's a guy named Brad Coutier and a manager named Aaron Donovan, and they're sitting across from me, and shout out to those guys, sitting across from me, and it's so funny, they're kind of smirking. They say, "What are you doing here?"
They saw your resume. They was
they're like, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "I just want to be home." So we did that for a little while, and then I started my business in 2016. And then I was just kind of building it. And then started a business called Stalta. Strength takes a lifetime to acquire. So it's the same thing. Yeah. Same type of gym situation, working with athletes, general population people as well. Ran that till 2018, 2019, 2020. And all through that time, I mentioned earlier my business partner, David Lawrence. Now, we'd maintained friendship and a brotherhood ever since college. And we always thought that we might do something together. Right. And so 2019, we started talking about teaming up, doing something bigger, and COVID hit, right? Well, we thought we might shelf the project, but him and I are pretty aggressive guys, and we would call each other like every other day during the shutdown. And I don't know if you guys remember, but gyms were getting beat up at that time.
Yeah, shut down bad.
There were a lot of businesses that, that were basically they're forcing suicide on. And we don't have to get into that. You can think what you want about some of those situations, but we decided to go all in, double down, and we're like, no, we're going to do this project anyway. And it seemed foolish at the time, right? But we put our guts on the table. We merged, kind of rolled. I parlayed that into commercial real estate as well. Okay. And, wasn't easy, but it's 2026 now. So it'll be 6 years this summer. We merged into Mecca, which is what we are now, Michigan Elite Conditioning for Athletes. Okay. And now there's 4 gyms in the state of Michigan, 3 on the east side, 1 here in Grand Rapids. We do, I believe, the most personal training sessions in the state of Michigan right now. And we have the most transformations, I believe, in the United States of America as well, for sure. Publishable. I mean, I could be wrong on that stat. If there's anybody out there who wants to disprove that, you can go ahead and pull out your receipts. We'll pull out ours or whatever. But
pop off.
But no, honestly, like, it's not me though. business is a team sport.
Absolutely.
I'll say that again. Business is a team sport. Life is a team sport too.
Yeah.
Right. You hear a lot of things out there like all me, self-made.
Yeah.
That's never true. You know, it makes a good hip hop song, but it's not true. So, anyway, some athletes that I've worked with NBA athletes, NFL athletes, NHL athletes, MLB athletes, Olympic medalists, world champions. I won't name a bunch of names. That's kind of irrelevant. But you know, you were asking, do you only work with boxers? I work with human bodies because really that's the passion. How does this thing that God made work? And you know, how do we utilize it to our best of our abilities? How do we get the most out of it?
I was actually kind of shocked about what all the human body can actually do.
Exactly.
It's really amazing.
It is. It is. I mean, I'm a believer in God. I'm saved by my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And you know, I'm 41 years old, and the more time you spend on this earth, you start to realize that there's a unique design to it. There's no way to me that it's just like happenstance.
No.
It's not, you know, talk about Big Bang Theory, whatever, talk about formation out of clay. I don't know. There's just got to be some sort of design to it.
Absolutely.
And so, how do we honor that? How do we get the best out of it? And, you know, how do we live the best life and leave the best mark that we can? And so, really, like, I'm a guy where, sure, I want to accomplish a lot of things, but I don't need to have a list of my accomplishments. I just want to share my experiences. Okay, I just want to ride that ride and share love, and you know, and that's what it's about to me. You know, I'm sure I could be farther in business, or I could have better accolades or this or that, but I never really was one to kind of put my plaques on the wall, per se.
Never had to. You know what I'm saying? Spoke for yourself.
I think there's probably people who do it better now and before me, and people who will do it better after me, right? Like, it's just kind of our window to share and do the best that we can, and you know, you got to be smart about it. Don't just go willy-nilly, but I don't know. I don't think I was one to feel like, you know, put that on display, or put it on a pedestal. And that's the thing for me in business, where, you know, I might not be the best leading team captain for that, right? Like, my business partner is a CEO, and he has a great vision, and he is the best guy to be that visionary and the CEO of our gym business. And that's not me. I play a different role for that. And so,
two different but very important.
That's right. And you know, we all have our strengths and we all have our weaknesses. So anyway, that's kind of a very, very condensed overview of the last 20 years of what got me into personal training or strength and conditioning, and where I am at today. So yeah.
So I do have a question with the strength and conditioning, right? So for me, if you're passionate about it and you see somebody not doing their full potential, does it ever get to you where it's just like, granted, everybody has bad days and off days, right? But it's just like, come on, you know you could be doing more. Let's do more. Only because you're investing your time, energy, and all your efforts into it.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And let me specify that a little bit more. Like, are you asking if I were to see a client in the gym, or just see a random person in the gym not putting the best effort or the most quality effort into it? Is that what you're asking?
Well, I'm saying more for a client standpoint, because at that point you guys are working together. You guys are teammates at that point.
Exactly.
You can't, in my opinion, you can't worry about everybody.
Right.
But the time, like, the people who are invested in you and you're invested in them, that's who I'm talking about, your clients.
Yeah, so that's a good question, and it's part of my job, right? So my job is to get the best out of everybody. And, you know, you only know what you know. And I don't know everybody's story.
Right.
There's a reason why they might not have to, or they might not be putting their full focus and effort and passion into it. But it's my job to take a look at the task at hand, take a look at the goals, and
line them up,
inspire that person, educate that person, get the best out of them, hold them accountable as well, to do that. And some people are destined for greatness and some people are not. But how do I get the most potential out of that individual at that time? And the stakes could be as high as they ever could be on a world level. And the stakes could be like, this person needs to get out of bed and face their day every day. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So, it can be frustrating for sure. It can be frustrating for sure. People who might, you know, kind of be, they might be an off day, or they're really losing an opportunity for life. They're really losing, they're blowing this chance that is life. Okay. There's a lot of people who hate their jobs, or, you know, they play victim or whatever. And we only get one shot at this thing called life.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, I have my days. I'm sure everybody has their days where they mail it in, per se. And that's the trick, right? That's the challenge. How do you get the best out of your ability every day? And that's my job, right? How do I meet that person where they're at, and how do I help bring them along? How do I give myself to them, and how do I make a connection and build a relationship and inspire them and support them to improve just a little bit. And so that's really the job. And I'll say this too, you don't win with everybody. You know, you can't, I mean, there's failed projects and things like that. You don't win with everybody. You know, you don't make 100% of the shots that you take.
You still threw them up though.
Right. You can't be afraid to take them, but you know, you do your best, and you know, you keep following your process and being consistent. You know, it's that. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of that. Like, not every one person's story is the same, or not every athlete is the same, and so you do your best, and as time goes on, you get better and better and better at execution, and you have a better winning percentage, per se, too. So.
Because I was gonna say, for me, I hate the feeling of regret, like even for my own personal stuff, because I'm a mad busy guy. But it's just like, I know if I sleep in one day, if I don't do what I know I'm supposed to do, or if I like half-ass it, I know that feeling of regret will kill me longer than if I would have just did it for like 45 minutes and just whatever, thugged it out.
Yep. And that's a good way to put it too. That, you know, there's a guy named Jocko Willink.
Oh yeah.
Right. Everybody knows Jocko. They got that black and white Timex, right? Yeah. And part of his story, right, is he does it because others can't. Because, you know, a lot of his other military brothers had fought and gave their life, you know, for the cause of freedom and the cause of, you know, to fight tyranny, or, you know, whatever it is. But, you know, big call that he has is, you know, he gets up early every day because others can't. People don't have that opportunity. And that kind of goes into what I said earlier is, you don't know when it's all going to end, and you really only get one shot at this thing. Yep. So try not to waste that time, you know? So yeah, that's what I like about what you guys are doing. Cause there's a lot of young guys in here, you know, trying to, you know, build and find success,
make a way,
and make a way. And it's becoming more and more competitive. It's becoming more challenging. There are, you know, I'll ask you this, like, do we feel like society is getting better or worse?
Oh, absolutely not. But I feel like that's what separates us, though.
Right.
And the bigger the gap, essentially better for us.
Right. It's also striking back against a society that's in decay. Mm-hmm. And that's actually one of the lines of our mission statement of our company. Strike back against a society that's in decay. And, you know, you can kind of water yourself down or water down your message or this or that, or you can strike back against it. And that's also another mission of what we have at Michigan Elite Conditioning for Athletes as well. So, yeah.
I think it's also very important, too. You are very particular about who you spend time with.
Yes.
So I had to change my circle for, like, the longest. Now everybody that I surround myself with push me. Right? Like, I'll be pushing you to do this.
Right.
And my therapist, I did not want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Trainers, my coach will cuss me out with no issue.
Right.
Don't care nothing about it. Friends push me. I'm like, wow. But as I started hanging around people who were up here, I started elevating too. Without even like a choice. It just had to happen.
They say you are an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
Right? And so, yeah, your environment is really ultimately going to be your end product.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's true. And I've been in great environments, and I've kind of dumbed myself down into mediocre environments, and that's kind of what you get. And I'm not saying that, you know, you got to forget your day ones.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you got to forget the boys that maybe you did some dirt with back in the day.
Allegedly.
You know?
Yeah.
Allegedly. Like, there's real heart there. There's real love there.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are never forgotten, but life changes.
Yeah.
You know, your path takes you where you want to go, and you know, you just got to grow and evolve through that, right? And truth is, I like spending my day or two a year with some of my day ones, and you know, share love and reminisce on that, but also let it prove to you and let it show you that who you really are and what you're really trying to do. And I think a lot of times, you know, for some of your friends and your people that are kind of stuck in that rut, really just in that mediocre swirl, like a lot of times it can inspire them to elevate too. And so, you know, Christ calls you to share time and share bread with all people, right? Hate the sin, not the sinner. And so it's really, you know, I agree with you 100%, like your environment, but we can't forget the least of us, right? So it's a good thing. Like, you know, don't waste your time in the dark alleys. Don't waste your time. You know, nothing good happens after 10 p.m. Unless if you're unless if you're married, you know, or unless if you're in the lab, grinding, right? Whatever your craft is, if you're working on that business or you're working on that dream, that after that 10 p.m., that can be, you know, it can be productive, right? But pleasure after 10 p.m., you know, escape after 10 p.m., I tell people that, like, that's when the bad things happen. When you hear a lot of the stuff on the news, when does it happen? Yeah. It happens at night.
That's true.
Know? And so that's a good point. It's a good point that you make, is surround yourself with good people, but don't forget the people who need you too. Don't forget those who need to be inspired. And sometimes I think those are God's angels too, testing you to see where your heart's at, to see, you know, if you'll give them that time, if you'll give them that charity, if you'll give them that love as well.
That's the thing too, especially like with the day ones, because they gave you the unconditional love. Like when you wasn't at that level, you know what I mean? They still loved you and had, quote unquote, your best interest.
That's right.
So it's like, even if I elevate, I feel like sometimes there could be envy involved, or just, I don't want to say jealousy at all, but it can switch depending on who it is. But at that point, I don't think it's really a day one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I will ask you though, how do you manage not being burnt out? Because I'm having trouble with that, brother. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, that's part of the thing, right? Like nothing gets accomplished. Like you don't evolve. Nothing. Put it this way, right? Like how are you going to improve your body composition, or how are you going to build muscle mass? If we're talking about the gym, is it comfortable?
Nah.
Is the process comfortable? Right? It's not. And so burnout or approaching burnout is going to happen. Mm-hmm. But it's also being able to remove yourself from your situation, or know when you need a break, or know when to ask help, mm-hmm. or know when you need some support, or this or that. And how do I manage it? My wife says, like, I have this good on and off switch. I make this joke. I say, I'm real good at getting lazy. And, like, I am. I really am. When I'm off, I'm off. I can kind of block it out of my brain. I'm good at taking vacations when I need to take a vacation. I'm really good at detaching from my situation. And how that came to be, I don't know. But I do know I had a bit of a breakdown at 20, 21, 22, where I anxiety and depression really bad. I needed some help. I spent a week in a facility, and I think through that process helped me realize that you can obsess over every single detail and every task and the bills and the this and the that, and and it's
always something.
It's always something, but look at the law of nature. What is, like, we're humans, but what do other animals worry about? They worry about air, water, food, shelter, protection from predatorial advances. And you start to realize, like, I remember thinking, like, if I failed that class, would it literally kill me? Mm-hmm. Or, man, money's running short and I'm going to be late on that bill. Is it going to kill me?
No.
And something connected in my mind that, we're putting too much fear into things that shouldn't cause us this much fear and being overwhelmed. And so I think that's how I battle burnout. Okay. I think that's how I keep that all in front of me. But yeah, I've been burnt out. I've been uninspired. I've been tired of what I'm doing. I've been bored with what we're doing. That's normal. It's okay. I want to tell people out there, like, it's okay to feel that. The challenge is being honest with yourself and with your teams that's what you're experiencing, and creating a plan to get over that and boost to the next level. So, don't try to avoid it. I think if you're trying to avoid it, then you're never going to reach your potential. You need to accept that's the state that you're at, or that's the direction you're going, and you need to pivot and do what you need to do, get the things you need to get to make sure that it doesn't consume you and ultimately cause a failure or a catastrophe in whatever your project is, or whatever your relationship is, or your family, or this or that.
You gotta be connected to something.
Right.
I know for me, like, I believe a lot of it is just mental, right?
Yep.
And it could bring you up, but it could put you down too,
right,
essentially. So like therapy, beautiful, but he put me on something called a time audit.
Yep.
A time audit, like I have my whole day scheduled from beginning to end. 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. Good.
Yep.
Extremely beneficial, man.
Yep. And it's a process, right? It's being organized and being consistent. And I'll admit, you know, my people out there, my partners, my team, they know I'm not the most organized guy, but that's why I have a pretty good team around me to hold me accountable. Shout out to Leanne, who is our operator in our business. And I was just talking with my business partner, Dave, yesterday, the day before. And he goes, you know, I talk to my wife sometimes, and he goes, it's really tough going to work every day and getting beat by Leanne. She really holds us together in terms of our operations and our business. And she's has an unbelievable drive and unbelievable work ethic, but the ability to work in high volume as well. But she's so precise as well. She doesn't make hardly any mistakes as far as we see. And you know, she's warrior, right? Like me and Dave are like, dang, dude, we're getting beat up by that, you know. And so, anyway, like, yeah, that your team is extremely important, and having key players in certain positions to push that forward. And so, yeah, that's you know.
And I think it's all about networking too.
Yeah.
Like, people don't take a chance on you until they see you putting in work yourself.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
Yeah, you know, a little piece of advice for younger driven people who would have an entrepreneurial spirit or want to do something special or create something. You know, we have a problem in the younger generation where you think that, like, you think you should be given a position or given a compensation or an accolade, you know, or arrive at a destination before there's any type of process or work that happens. I want to make it clear that, you know, a lot of the things I did earlier in my career, it's offering your time for free.
Absolutely.
Right? Don't expect anything back in return. And that's what I was talking about. I'm here for the experience. I'm here for the wisdom. I'm here for, you know, I think you said I'm your second guest, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, maybe I want to be on the Joe Rogan podcast, right? But, and I don't care if I would be or not, but how are you going to be on a Joe Rogan podcast until, you know, you're on a, you know, the origin of the Rugged and Raw podcast, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the thing, is you need to be willing to build your experiences and build your craft. And if you see somebody or an organization out there and you want to know how it's done, far too many times I see, you know, a younger generation say, but what about me? What do you have for me? You need to give, you need to give me.
Yeah.
I'm like, give you for what? Like, you know, I've had interns, I've had young employees and here or there, and when are you going to do this? Hey, when are we going to do that? And it's, you know, I didn't come up that way. I saw who's doing something that you want to do, or who's doing something right, and I try to contact that organization or that individual and say, you know, anything like, hey, is there anything you need help with? Can I come sweep your floors? Mm-hmm. And what that does is that puts me in the environment.
Right.
We were just talking about that earlier. Like, who do you surround yourself by? Mm-hmm. So, you know, if there's the best strength coaches in the game, I want to go clean those toilets at that facility. Well, now I'm in that environment.
And you're just picking up.
That's right. And you're a yes man or a yes woman. inevitably there's an opportunity like, we need you to go do this.
Yeah.
Put down the mop and we need you to go do this real quick.
The
and
spook
then
who sat by the door, you just gain. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So that's a good piece of advice for young people who want to build something. Like, the check's not going to come on day one.
Nah.
The position's not going to come on day one. So.
I think that's beautiful, especially with young people. Young people are afraid to talk.
Yep.
I don't know if it's always because they're behind a screen or like what it is, but I noticed they have trouble with that.
Right.
I wasn't raised like that. My parents are old school.
Right.
Old school. My dad used to tell me, he's like, if you don't go talk to that girl at the gas station, you're walking home. I had a lot of long walks.
Yep.
But not really shy no more.
It's a skill that's been lost, right? Yeah. To look someone in the eye, have a conversation with them, shake a hand. And it's unfortunate, you know. I see it every day too, as well. But yeah, I think that's just the advancements of technology and medium that's kind of swallowed us up with that. And so we've lost our interpersonal connections and our human element today, right? There's lots of books, right? Absolutely. Don't stop reading. Well, so.
Thank you for taking time out of your day to come see us, man.
No worries.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Likewise. Thank you guys very much. Right. So.
Until next time, y'all.